let's talk about preparing your property for sale. So ultimately, you want a lot of showings, you want a lot of buyers, and ultimately and hopefully multiple offers. In order to do that, there's some work that we have to do. Now, no one ever said that selling a home was easy, and this is probably the hardest part, preparing your home to sell. I'm going to break this down into a few sections so that it's very clear. First one is probably the most obvious, but you need to do this. You need to declutter and deep clean your entire house. Now, sometimes people do one and not the other. They'll tidy up and not deep clean. Or they'll deep clean and not tidy up. This really means decluttering and shining every doorknob, polishing every hinge, every knob in the kitchen. Do you want to polish, a coat of polish on the hardwood floors? These things honestly have to be done, and they make a huge difference at showings. I know it's exhausting and time consuming, but it's really non-negotiable, and a good agent and a good team will really help you get that in place. So start decluttering right away because it will take up more time than you could ever possibly think. The data shows that most American homes have at least 3,000 items in it. Think about that. So I think that you'll find if you start to get rid of things and pack things, those things that you don't use very often, you're actually doing yourself a big favor. You'll have your home looking better for buyers and for showings, and then you'll also have a head start on packing for your move. Okay? Number 2, it's time to fix everything that needs to be repaired. And this doesn't mean taking on big renovation projects, because those can be very time consuming, very messy, and you might not get a return on that investment. The rule of thumb is anything that's mechanical or structural should be fixed. Those are the things that are going to be huge red flags for buyers, and they're not going to want to take on those costs for things that are A, mechanical, B, structural. They'll be significantly less likely to offer on your home if those things aren't fixed ahead of time. It also makes buyers think, like, if these things aren't fixed, are there other small items that I'm not seeing that will also need to be fixed? So if your HVAC isn't working, or if one of your appliances is completely broken, I would recommend that those need to be replaced or repaired if you want to get the most money for your house. And that's number 2. The next step is to freshen up your interior. Most agents will recommend a fresh coat of paint on walls and trim, especially if your house has like a lot of different colors on the walls or really bold choices. That might be great for you, but likely not what new buyers are looking for. Most buyers prefer like a nice clean slate, some tone of white on the wall. I know gray was big at a time, but that's not necessarily big right now. Polish the floors. If they're in really bad shape, you might want to consider refinishing them. I said before, polishing all the knobs, making sure windows are cleaned, etc. All right, number 4, we take a step outside. You want to make sure your curb appeal is fabulous. It's the very first impression that buyers have of your home. It's going to set the tone for the entire rest of your tour. So if your walkway is like stained and dirty with all weeds popping out of them, get a power washer. Have someone with a power washer come down, pull the weeds. They need to be pulled. They need to be chopped. Perhaps consider some fresh landscaping, some flowers, some shrubs along your walkways or your porch. That could end up being a huge plus and not very expensive. And don't forget your front door. Buyers will always look at the condition and the color of the front door, including the hardware. So remember that. Next, we'll talk about staging. And this is a hot topic. I'll do a whole separate video on staging, but 77% actually of buyer's agents report that buyers are more likely to offer on a staged home because it's easier for them to visualize themselves living in it. And if it's not staged, they're less likely to make offers. I know our team offers different levels of staging. For example, if you're still living in the home, we'll recommend ways to reorganize the furniture, make rooms look bigger. And from our own supply, we'll do things like refresh pillows and accessories, artwork, and plants. And then some people offer a complete and total staging. In my experience, most homes that are staged well do in fact still sell faster and for more money in compared to those that are empty or not staged. So just think of your bathroom. Do you have products all over your bathroom counter, in your shower, towels randomly hung in spots? Or do you have a nice clean fresh countertop with a plant, maybe a candle, fresh white linens, high-end soaps? If you do, that's great. But we don't see that super often. And those are the types of bathrooms that sell. People are more drawn to things like that than to places that have lots of products. So less is more. Then, once all of this stuff is complete, it's really, 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 really important to have high quality photos and videos taken of your property. And you should absolutely ask any agent that you're considering hiring for examples of their photography and videography of other listings. Ask to see their show sheets and things they've created for the other properties and look at the quality of them. Is it really nice brochure or is it a printout of the MLS? 90%. Yes, 90% of buyers see your property first online before deciding to go and visit your property. It's not an open house sign. It's not walking down the street. It's looking at the property online. That makes them decide whether or not they want to go and see your home. So photography and videography has to be high quality. So again, ask for samples. And finally, the last tip I have is to plan for showings and open houses. All right. Open houses are likely scheduled in advance with your agent, but showings can literally be requested at any time. And I would say as a seller, you want to be flexible and you want to be able to accommodate the showings as best as possible because you never know if that person is going to be your buyer. So that means that all of this work that I've now requested that you've done to get your house neat and clean has to sort of stay that way. So if you can, try to eat out a little bit more and not cook and mess up the kitchen. If you typically have a big mail pile or you scatter your belongings all around when you get home, try to break those bad habits, put everything in its place. If you have a pet, actually make sure that you have a plan for where the pet's going to be during showings. Is there a neighbor or friend? Could you take your dog on a bit of a long walk during that time? It could take a few weeks or sometimes several months to sell your home. So you have to be prepared to keep it what I call show ready at all times. So remember, here they are. Start with the deep clean. Declutter. Do those things as soon as possible. Make necessary repairs, especially mechanical and structural. Those should be non-negotiable. Spruce up the interior with painting and polishing. Make sure your exterior looks fabulous because it's the first impression. Maximize the best features of your home, possibly with staging at some level. And then take high quality photos and videos and make sure you have a plan to keep your home show ready at a moment's notice. This seems like a lot. A good agent team will help you through this whole process to make sure that you get as many buyers through and your home looks as best as it possibly can for those buyers and hopefully more offers.